We're not to him what he is to us. I disagree. Jay Kelly is a Netflix original written and directed by filmmaker Noah Baumbach. I'm not laughing at that last name. Shut up. How dare you accuse me of laughing at Baumbach? That being said, he has done The Squid and the Whale, as well as Kicking and Screaming the movies. Not Kicking and Screaming the Squid or the Whale. That would be really monumentally stupid, especially you would have to kick and scream at a whale or a squid in their domain. How dare you do that? Nameless, faceless person I created in this scenario. And also he did While We're Young, as well as Marriage Story. Who remembers when Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson just yelled at each other and did a whole bunch of stuff that people memed like crazy? I liked Marriage Story. I thought it was pretty good. I can see why some people thought that it may have not been all the best. Speaking of which, Jay Kelly has received quite a bit of praise from film festival circuits, from those that saw it in theaters during its limited theatrical run. I just got around to it now. It dropped on Netflix about a week and a half ago. And George Clooney plays actor Jay Kelly. It's basically George Clooney reflecting on his life, but he's playing a fictionalized name here. Or maybe he's playing a variation of Gene Kelly, the way Glenn Miller plays. No, none of that. Jay Kelly reflects on his life. He has a manager, Ron, not Captain Ron, as hilarious as that would be, played by Adam Sandler, who also got one of his daughters to be in this. And God, nepotism's running through the goddamn Sandler family, isn't it? Greta Gerwig is in this. There are a lot of people in this, Billy Crudup. Emily Mortimer also gets writing credits because she plays a character named Candy. Never mind. Moving on. Stacy Keach is in this. A lot of people. Quite a few, actually, if you look through the cast. Grace Edwards plays the daughter Daisy. Riley Keough plays the daughter Jessie that Jay is distant from. And really, this is just George Clooney doing what George Clooney does. Carrying a film about to the 50-yard line, if we're perfectly honest. I don't really see why this film was necessarily praised as much as it was. I don't think it's bad. I think there are some genuinely cool moments. But a lot of this just feels like shit that's happening. It's like it just limps along, strolls along, doesn't really have a purpose. And that's really how I felt about Jay Kelly. Yeah, it gives him a chance to reflect on what he could have had in life, what he neglected, his great career. Wasn't really all it was cracked up to be. Laura Dern is in this. That was nice to see her in a big promoted project. But honestly, for all the star power, for the talent in front and behind the camera, this film ends up just being okay. I mean, there are a few flashes of cool, but other than that, it just kind of drags along. And really, for 2+ hours, doesn't really have a lot to say that hasn't been said in a lot of other movies. I'm going to get into spoilers on Netflix. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. There we go. So, there was a quote from Sylvia Plath. It's a hell of a responsibility to be yourself. It's much easier to be somebody nobody, or somebody else or nobody at all, as much as I butchered that Plath quote. So, we see the last shot of a movie that he has done, and now he's going to take a break. Even though he's got another project on the way, he wants to talk to his daughter Daisy, who's actually going to go to Europe and be with people. And he wants to, maybe be there for her, unlike when he wasn't there for Jessie. Grace Edwards, I thought, did a pretty good job in this. I will say that much. And the fame keeps on rolling, and he is really famous. George Clooney himself, very, very famous. I mean, to think where he started in film, and then, stuff like in ER, and then the various films yes, he laughs at the fact he killed the Batman franchise. He didn't. He didn't. As bad as Batman and Robin was, Batman Forever was only going to carry it so far. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but just Adam Sandler getting his own daughter in here, where I don't think this is ever going to work for her. She's not awful, but I don't think she necessarily just does it out of ego, but I also don't feel she's very much cut out for this. There's a guy named Peter Schneider, who I believe is played by Jim Broadbent. If not, it is Jim Broadbent's clone. There's an old roommate that was an acting buddy named Timothy. We find out a little bit more about what happened with their particular friendship. But they do meet up for drinks. Timothy gets upset. They end up having a bit of a fight in the alleyway where he kind of pushes him And then eventually it's filmed where, oh my God, he's gonna sue him for damages and stuff like that, and all the stuff that he did. And also it is mentioned about the daughter Jessie, seeing a therapist. Timothy really doesn't have much of a character arc here. He's kind of just there. And Jay then basically says he's dropping out of the next movie to go see his daughter. So then we go to Tuscany. It's kind of like the fake part of Italy where everything's all bright and cheery and whatever. I mean, I'm not saying Italy isn't. I've never been to Italy, but I would imagine there are probably better places to shoot than Tuscany. And they decide, okay, the entire entourage is going to go. Laura Dern, Adam Sandler, various other people. And the way that Jay finds out about this is tracking through one of the friends' mother's credit cards that she used to pay for the trip, I guess. I guess you can do that when you're a Hollywood actor. And then he sees his younger self acting on stage, and it seems like Timothy might actually be getting the chance to be the big breakout star. Then they're going to audition for, I believe, a rendition of Rebel Without a Cause, if I recall correctly. And Tim comes up with the idea to come up with a different line, to use. Something that might be a little bit better. But he doesn't want to deviate from the script. Jay tells him to go for it, says, hey, what's the worst that could happen? And Tim was going to, but he didn't. And they read with each other. And then Jay said, let me try it. Let me read with him. Maybe we'll both get it. Jay ended up getting it because he used the line. He wasn't stealing it, but since he wasn't going to use it and he thought it would work, he did it. I'm not saying Jay is totally an innocent individual here, but if Tim wasn't going to show the guts, then Jay was going to show the guts. So, changed his life. There we go. Now they are taking a train from Paris because they were going to go from France to Tuscany to whatever. I don't care. It was nice that everybody was so cool with him. Everything was going good. The locals were very happy to have a famous actor on there. Apparently Laura Dern, Adam Sandler's characters, did almost hook up on the Eiffel Tower. Not Eiffel Towering, that's not a euphemism. But she kind of left him hanging because they're both beholden to Jay Kelly's needs. And he was famous even back something 20 years ago. So now, Ron has a different way of life and Laura Dern has a different way of life and stuff like that. And just there are so many attempts to branch off and give us more about these characters. And the more you find out, the less you care. And the idea is he's going to accept a trophy, almost a Lifetime Achievement Award thing that actually was going to go to a guy named Ben Alcock. Shut up. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's totally funny. Who's played by Patrick Wilson, of all people. And Isla Fisher is in this very briefly. That is disappointing, given the gorgeous goddess that she is, but nevertheless. Jay even says, how can I play people when I don't see people? And he's realizing, hey, interacting with these locals, giving him the perspective. He really wants to make good with his, daughter that he kind of left when she was going to a therapy session. And the therapy session didn't go off all that well because he wasn't listening to her. She was trying to air her grievances by having the therapist read the letter because she didn't want to read the letter because she was going to start crying. And that went tits up rather quickly. And then basically something happens where one of the assistants of the assistant ends up, her dog eats the screw, so she has to go back home. Laura Dern goes with her because she's had enough. So now it's just Ron left holding the goddamn thing. Daisy is on the train, has met a French guy, a nice French guy seemingly that wants to have her in his movie. Not like that. We're not going Hostel. Actually, I don't think Hostel was set in France, but you get the point. She wants to get into acting, not go to college. And there we go. So that's going on. Emily Mortimer's character is just totally forgotten about. I think she was going to cut hair for the French president. So that's how they wrote her off. And, Ron reveals he was going to propose. I know Laura Dern's character had a name. I just don't necessarily remember because it wasn't important. And then Ron receives a call that his daughter is having issues with her feet. Greta Gerwig, who plays his wife, is trying to go through a bunch of stuff as kind of single parenting here because he's always with Jay. He's starting to realize the strains. He doesn't want to be like Jay, neglecting his family, but he's been beholden to him for a while, and just wants to make sure that he feels, like what he's doing is worth it. And Jessie, yeah, Riley Keough, it was nice to have her in this. She just wasn't around very much. There is an actress named Daphne that Jay Kelly fell for. Daphne was played by Eve Henson, who, my word, yeah, I could see it. And then we get some arguing with Ron briefly, very briefly, and also Jay wants to invite his dad, who was a regular worker, played by Stacy Keach, what's left of him, who worked at the John Deere Corporation, but is being taken care of because Jay had a way of lifting it because he made a whole bunch of money. So, then we go to just, we're still on the train, and then this guy ends up taking this woman's bag, and they chase him through the field, and Jay tackles him and stops him and everything, and the guy, his, I guess, biking partner basically said, no, he's a good guy, he's a family man, this isn't like him, he just needs his medication. So it seems like a setup, and I think it kind of was. They never really indicated whether it was a setup, but it kind of seemed like it was to basically make him be the hero and push that whole thing with Tim under the rug, which it turns out they did. They found an old drug charge that happened, that he got in the 90s that could have risen back up, but no. The thing just goes away. It's settled. And Jay feels guilty and doesn't want to talk to him, but nope, that's not advised. And he reflects with his dad. And then they see the video, the people see the video about this stuff. Patrick Wilson, by the way, he decides to drop Ron because he doesn't feel that Ron's there enough. And he's being stretched thin already being around Jay. But now he's worried that he's going to lose Jay as a client. But also he's really starting to fracture because of his family home life. And after, all that stuff with the video and the, capturing the thief, he doesn't want to take the role. Even though Ron fought for it, he says give it to Ben Alcock because he's younger and also that's who it was supposed to be for. A younger guy. He dances. His dad has a fall. His dad decides he wants to go home because Stacy Keach is about 8 million years old. And they go off. He ends up kind of chasing the taxi for a bit, but then almost gets run over by Ben Alcock's caravan. And I guess basically Ben kind of just brushed out the thing about Ron. Oh, we give him 15% and they think they're our friends, but they aren't. And Jay's like, he kind of is though. He's done some good stuff. And he calls Jesse to apologize. And yeah, the apology doesn't go all that great because I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to have a great life, just not, with you. And I'm not going to come to your ceremony, but I'm glad that you've had a good life. But it's just been so many years. Like she's 34 years old. He was never really there. And then basically Ron is going to leave. Ron decides to go to the ceremony anyway because Jay convinces him. Sees a tribute to all of George Clooney's film roles. I mean, literally. And then sees the family stuff with the two daughters having fun. And he decides to put his bag down and just sit there and look and everything and see what he could have had. I guess. I don't really know. Jay Kelly's all right with a few decent moments. But it really just gets a C+. Like, this didn't grab me at all. This just was kind of there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. C+, by the way, C+, just in case, I didn't make that clear. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin. Until we reflect on another actor's career again, happy trails to you.